It's time to down tools for a bit. Welcome to the ToolShed, the influential podcast for anyone and everyone involved in the building industry. Here's your host, Mick Hawes.
Hey folks, welcome to the ToolShed Podcast. As you're aware, what we do in this podcast is we try and find people and platforms and tools and ideas and philosophies, anything that can help the plight of the builder. In this particular episode, I'm talking to Nick Daffy from Styck Construction Software, and we're always looking for tools like this that can obviously make the builder more professional, but also take away a lot of the unnecessary pain and wasted time and mistakes that come from not having a professional system to manage the projects and the finances and so on and so forth. So really looking forward to unpacking this today. Before we get started, I need to remind you, if you haven't filled out the Builder's Scorecard, there's a link in the description. Just click on the link and you can go through a bunch of questions. And what it will help you do is identify the number one issue in your business that quite often you're that close to the coalface you can't identify it. And by identifying what that issue is, we'll also send you out a bunch of solutions to be able to identify or to rectify that problem. And you'll find that when you rectify that particular roadblock issue, a whole raft of other issues will disappear as well. So it's a really great way to ramp the progress of your business up in a fast way. So click the link after the podcast and see how you score on the Builder's Scorecard. So let's get into it. Nick, welcome to the podcast. I believe you're in Docklands. We can see it over your shoulder there somewhere. And you're representing Styck Construction Software. The very first question I always like to ask is, how the bloody hell did you end up here? So what were the twists and turns in your life that caused you to be involved in creating a tool like Styck?
Yeah, thanks, Mick. Great to join you. And thanks for having me. Yeah, well, it's an interesting one because I'm pretty excited about the journey we've had the last sort of 4 years. I was lucky enough, I've been working in construction as, I guess, business development and helping companies sort of grow their business for probably 15 odd years, and was lucky enough to get a contract in at a software company, and walked into the software or this company and was like, wow, what's this world? I had no idea about it at all. And seeing that they'd had this basically a SaaS system that was helping companies in New Zealand and Australia, I guess, just organise their workflow, organise their finances and everything. So it was a big eye-opener to sort of move forward quickly. I met two guys who were, one was a programmer and one was really the operations. And from that, they really wanted to do their own and control their own sort of destiny. And the three of us decided to, I guess, get out and do our own and develop a software that took a couple of years to get there. And we've been out and in the market for probably over a year and a bit now, year and a half. And it's amazing and loving every bit of it.
Yep. Sounds a little bit like how Google started. So hopefully that's encouraging.
Is that right? That's good.
A couple of guys got together. Let's build a search engine. The other ones weren't working as well as they could have. And the rest is history. But
it's interesting.
Go ahead.
The three personalities are almost perfect. We've got we call Tyson. We almost call him the almost normal programmer he's single and works late at night and just he's in Darwin at the moment working off his laptop. And Stuart, who's the organised, calm, so to speak, operations, methodical, and then myself, who's, I guess, out there and really setting the level of where we need to go and, I guess, networking and I guess providing that push to, I guess, take on the big boys in this industry.
Yeah. And so let's unpack that for a moment and take on the big boys. And the question that I like to ask is what is the point of difference with your platform? Because there's lots of options in this space, and the point of difference is often created because of a deficiency that has been seen in other platforms that you believe that the market is looking for. So what were the things that inspired you to create this platform and make it different?
I guess from early days, we needed to make a really simple system, something that people could use, because we found that everyone wants a software. So many people have got a software, but not many use it very well and find it easy to use. So our first thing was really just getting to make sure the software looked really good on the screen. It didn't have overcomplication. You knew what you were looking at. You knew what you needed to do as soon as you basically opened up the page. So that was the real key. The second point was, when I say take on the big boys, probably just mix it with them, some of the companies. And what we decided to do was not try and do everything and be the best at everything. I think there's a lot out there saying they do everything and they're potentially not great in some areas. We really decided to nail down the project financials and make that a simple process. And with that comes organisation, and with that also risk management. And what we found is we've been able to sort of provide a nice little area that I don't think too many companies are focusing on and really doing that well.
Can we unpack what some of those things are? Because coming from my perspective, building a builder's coach, and our space is kind of the husband and wife run building business that's been in business for a while. But some of the things that I discover when I'm unpacking the details of a building business, residential building business, and they've been in business for quite some time, are fundamental things like the overhead costs, like the electricity bill, the phone bill, the car maintenance, the car insurance, all of those things that add up to those overheads aren't being considered when they're pricing projects still to this day. And I what are some of the things that you notice that your system causes people to fix in that space?
I think the main thing, if you're talking about the residential space, is just locking in your budget and watching it on a daily basis, the actuals versus the budget versus actuals, and what happens through the day, how that changes, and seeing what it's going to look like overnight the next day, and probably just being on top of that. That I guess that budget that you set, because we're not an estimating tool. We are literally, once you've got your price, you can lock in all your budgets and all your trades, and from there you can really track your jobs with all the communication. We do subcontractor agreements, so that's another area that I think a lot of people just miss or just don't do very well. So we've put all that together, to be honest. The main thing we set the business up early days was really to make sure claims, variations, track retentions. It was really a commercial tool to start with. But what I found is the residential space is somewhere that has been missed a little bit, to be honest. It was probably saturated by a company. Builder Trend was something that is a Canadian or American company, and they were getting a lot of smaller builders using it, and they're one of those ones that does a little bit of everything.
Yep.
And they're probably good value for some, but we're able to come in and, I guess, really put together a really simple solution for probably a two-man show. Someone on the tools, his wife at home, or potentially someone who's out there doing a decent amount of work and's got a few CAs and project managers involved in the company.
Hey, I hope you're enjoying the podcast. We're always trying to bring you information that's going to make your life as a builder much easier. So give us a thumbs up and make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss the next episode. Yeah. So having the budget for the project is probably in my wheelhouse, but it would be great to have a platform and a process that allows you to track how you're actually going, because it's something that I jump up and down about with our members all the time. And like after the project's finished and you realise that you've eaten into your profit because of this, that, and the other that you didn't address early enough, that horse has bolted. There's nothing you can do about it. So explain to me perhaps part of the processes or the actions that need to be taken for, let's say, a residential builder on a day-to-day basis. What do they have to do with this platform to be able to measure their financial progress day to day? Because I love the sound of that.
Yeah, and you know what? It's funny because some people look at you a bit foreign and go, what does it do? It locks in your budget. And then So it's quite interesting that there's nothing out there. We can literally lock in your budget. You can do all your purchases. You can lock in. You can check your labour on a daily basis, which is obviously an area that, if something's going to go over, it's usually labour with time, to be honest. Subcontractor agreements, locking that in and locking them into their actual price and making sure if they're coming in with variations or difference in price, you have a system that stops that from happening without actually approvals. We integrate with Xero, so we become the approval process for everything rather than just everything going into Xero. So it comes into us with the communication, say whether that's purchasing, labour, variations, comes through our system, and then that becomes, integrates with Xero before it gets paid. You approve it in our system. But that also gives you an idea of where you've claimed a job or where the timeline of the job, how much is left to go, how much you've claimed of the margin. So there's various ways people use it, but it's really what it's doing is probably it's all the communication, whether it's purchasing, labour, subcontractors. It's all just putting all through that communication through our system, which will basically automatically update your project finances and where you're at night or the next day, and give you a good look at where you're going to be in a week's time, or where you're going to bed at night, knowing where your job's at based on the day's communication and what's actually happened through the job today.
Yeah. When you're saying communication, what does that mean? Are you gathering performance data from the site in some way and entering it into the platform? What do you mean by communication?
Any purchases from on-site can be approved through our system. Any labour can be locked in, but anything over the top of the labour can be from on-site. They can actually put their labour through at the end of the day of our system. So that gives you an idea of if it's going over budget at all. Any sort of communications on some of the claims or variations through the day that are overruns or whatever will come through our system, and it'll allow you not to approve things unless it's within the budget, basically. Yep. And then it'll just give you a better communication of where you're at.
Yep. A couple of times you've mentioned subcontractors, and we've heard, some stories over the journey about subcontractor saying this is how much it'd be, and then the bill's very, very different. You're talking about, and I love the idea of locking that in so there are no surprises. So what's the process look like if I'm a builder and I'm working with some subcontractors? How do we use Styck Construction Software to manage that and make sure that people stick to their pricing?
Yeah, so I mean, look, we've got some basic contracts in there for subcontractors. We've got some bigger builders who have got 10 to 15-page subcontractor agreements in there that are locked into our system, and it's just a cut and paste and off they go. But what it really is doing is just having a very simple process of going through all your trades and making sure you can see if people have been locked into an agreement or not. And that could be anything from that, because, the old days of electrician, 30 grand and not really listing everything that they're allowed for. And then coming back, obviously, through the job or and trying to claim that. We're really trying to stop that by, getting in good habits of locking people in on a contract and the budget they set, and making sure everything's identified in that contract.
Yeah.
And anything that goes over that comes back to us. We've got a lot of, actually, it's one thing we've been working on. We've got a lot of good builders who are doing cost plus contracts at the moment. And, they're lucky to have that. But that's another area that our system helps the builder, but also helps the homeowner, because they're the ones who lose out at this a little bit as well, because the builder just lets the electrician, just load up and he takes his 10%, but the poor old owner of the actual job actually has to just pay. Because there's two ways that we're trying to help people. We're helping clients that the builders are working with, and also helping the builders make sure it's an easy process to just put a simple contract in, so you can lock the trade in. And from there, if you lock in, you lock in the trades, but then you've got your purchases come through our system. You've got labour that you can see through our system. Well, you've really covered everything off in a simple way that there shouldn't be any surprises.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Famous last words. It shouldn't be any surprises.
That's never the case, is it? To be honest?
Variations. I'd love to understand the process that you've implemented variations, because all sorts of things that can happen. Like sometimes a client might speak directly with a sub-trade and the sub-trade says, yeah, sure. And the builder doesn't find out about it till later, and that can cause issues. Sometimes the builder will say, yep, we can do that, yep, we can do that, and they sort of add it up later on, and by that time the client's forgotten about it and they go, what's all of this? You said it's X and you've charged me Y. They don't remember all that stuff. What's the process that you take the builder and the client through as far as variations?
Look, what we've done is we've made it a really simple way of actually just processing variations. That's the number one thing, because that can be a real pain, and we've made that a really easy process. From there, we've obviously made it a 2 to 3 way sort of approval process, depending on who the builder is. So that gives everyone a bit of comfort in variations can't just be signed up and paid and done. There's a bit more of a process to make sure that we're watching and we're not allowing little things to sneak up. And just the general communication on a variation, understanding that it's in the system, it's there for us all to see, and there has to be an approval process with it before it goes forward.
Yeah.
So for us, the claims and variations and tracking of, say, retentions, which is probably more of a commercial type arrangement, what we've tried to do is just make it a simple process of being able to, I guess, have the communication, draw them up and have an approval process in it. But not a complicated that you need someone full-time IT whiz. This is a very simple system that is probably just allowing people to be a little bit better and a bit better organised and have things in place so they're not losing their money.
Accessibility, portability is a question that I want to find out about. Like, obviously, it's a browser-based thing that you can access on your computer, but what about phones and tablets and things like that? Is there a connection there as well?
So we haven't done the app yet, but our system works really well just on the iPhone. So
okay.
And at the moment, we've got companies that are allowing their site managers to do labour and purchasing on their phones. So it's very easy to use. It's just how we've designed it. It comes up just like an app. So you just obviously do the browser and lock in the password and you're off and running. So the app will come in time. We probably will move into a little bit of site information soon. So we've tried to make it really, an office tool more so than a site, but we've allowed the purchasing and labouring to be able to sort of be brought into that, because they're obviously important parts that on site they might need to log in a couple of times a day or once a week. And we've made that really easy. Yep.
And so somebody thinking, well, all of this is making sense. It sounds like it could be valuable to me. What's their journey to you? Like, what's the best way to contact you? What would the experience be like for me if I follow the process and make contact? What are the steps we go through, and what's my experience going to be like?
Yeah, well, I mean, the experience at the moment is going to be great because we're a new company. So we've got 3 or 4 of us here.
Does that mean it's going to get worse later?
Well, no, it's not going to get worse. But I do believe that the people who come on early, and I think we've got around 70 odd clients at the moment across Australia, which is amazing. So we're doing all we can to make our clients so happy. You know what I mean? We're making the flow work. We're custom building and reporting. We're doing everything that everyone else isn't doing at the moment in the software world. And that's even if you're only a 2 user, up to some who are 20 users, we're doing the same amount of work because we're going to help the 2 user potentially grow his business and probably get more people using our platform as well. So it's literally, we'd like to put them through a quick demo, which my business partner Stuart does. We talk through, make sure we know what they're looking for in a business, or give them ideas of how they can improve their business. From that, we give them a 2-week trial. We help them lock in a job. And then it's not a complicated system, and you can use it for just various things. So we've got a lot of different sectors in as well. We've got commercial builders, we've got medium to high-end residential, and then we've got concreters that are doing high-rise buildings, we've got fire services, we've got plumbers, we've got electricians. We've got a really good broad sector of people in construction who are struggling to find the tool to track their projects finances. So everyone uses it a little bit differently, and we're building it out based on a lot of our clients at the moment. So if they get in early and there's areas that are missing or they need something different. Actually, we had a company in Darwin, really good little company, commercial builder. They had a really good Excel spreadsheet, which we're trying to take people away from Excel. We're trying to take people away from Dropbox, because we can do all that. We've got a file system that is unlimited. But I guess one thing they had a really amazing Excel spreadsheet, how they price their jobs. We're able to implement that into our system, so then automatically that budget goes straight into our job and they're off and running. So that was, I guess, an area that we've been able to help. We've got some bigger commercial companies that we're helping do some different reporting, and they're helping us work on some areas that we needed to get better at. So I guess the experience at the moment is and at the moment I think we're a very cost effective tool for people to get organised.
Yeah. The support thing to me is really, really important, and it sounds like it's something that you hold in high regard as well. What does that look like if I'm a builder? Can I call you? Can I come round to your house on Sunday? What's the story as far as support? What's that look like?
Well, my business partner, Stuart, tells me off because when I'm in meetings with people, I say, Stuart's available 24 hours a day. And we do, but we believe that in a way. But support's a big thing. And the guys at, Stuart and Tyson, my business partners, they were involved in the other company where they seen the support and how it can, I guess, how busy it can get and what people are worried about with not getting support. So we've been really big on getting back to people. But another way for us is touch wood, haven't had a lot of bugs, don't have a lot of support inquiries. We make sure that everyone understands how to use it, so we don't leave them. We're available and we're jumping onto everyone. So, but like I said, support, they'll do an hour demo with us and maybe a day or so trialing, and they'll know how to use the system. It's not a complicated system, so that's been a bonus for us as well.
Yeah, and you're just cruising around the website, you're integrated or partnering or connected with a bunch of other businesses like Xero, obviously, so it works well with that. But DocuSign, which is kind of handy, but BuildPass as well, and we've had BuildPass on the podcast previously, so we know all about that as well. I think that's important. What's the future look like for the software platform? What are you thinking about? Where are you heading in the future with this?
Yeah, that's a great question. Just back onto those integrations, they've been quite calculated. BuildPass, I know Matt really well. He's been amazing for us. They're probably a couple of years ahead of us, but we've just integrated really in a pretty big way with them that we'll be able to work. I guess they've got a couple of site diaries and things, so we, in hand with them, will will be a complete system. Yeah. And which is really exciting for us. Easy Bills has been a great way for people to scan their invoices if there's a lot. So that's something we haven't integrated with everyone, but we're being strategic in who we want to be with as well.
What's Dindo?
I was going to say Jim Cunningham, interesting fellow from Sydney, great system. Has been successful before in developing software, and this is his new venture. It's an easy-to-use estimating system.
Okay.
And we've found people are really loving it. So that's another area, again, that would help us, I guess, be that full system if they want it. But yeah, that's been exciting, having those integrations and working with people. So for us, go back to your question, the future. Yeah, the future's at the moment it's pretty exciting because we're seeing so many different companies needing our system. So where do we go from here? We really want to start being probably the company that helps people get cash flows in order, and probably will educate some in how they can actually set up a cash flow on their jobs and in their company in general, to be honest. I find obviously the big commercial companies, it's just something you do because the board wants it or their accountants ask for it. But I think that's lacking a little bit at the moment in
100%.
probably the area we've got. So that I'm really excited about what we've been drawing up for that, which will just be a very simple process, which will stick to what we've been doing, area of how they can really plug some numbers in some of their jobs based on averages or, exact budgets on jobs and look at where they're going to be in 3 to 6 months' time as a company and the projects.
Yeah.
So we're excited about that. The next part is probably we're looking at the pay apps model where we can have the subcontractors communicating back through our system and making that an easy system for them to obviously issue their claims, but also just communicate through for things like we spoke about, variation, things like that. So that's probably another exciting part for us where we're going to open up a world of, a builder might have 50-odd subcontractors and they can start communicating through our system and we can get them better organised for you as well. So that's going to be a really big part. And then the next layer of that will probably be the document distribution, where we want to obviously have some control over how we can get some documents out to some of our subcontractors as well. So that'll probably play hand in hand with, I guess, that model we were just speaking about. So it's funny because we're still got to be careful we don't try and do everything and be everything. But at the moment, we're doing those little areas that suits our business and what people are liking about it and what we see is lacking.
Yeah, perfect. So final question, just best way for people to reach out to you, is it the website and go to the 14-day free trial or come around to your house on Sunday, like I said?
Yeah, come around to the house, go to the footy, see Richmond and Carlton, see us there hanging out, hoping Richmond do okay. But no, probably just jump on the website, which is www.styck.com.au. I'm sure you might have something up there at some point, or we can share something with them. And on that, just book in a demo with us. There's a calendar. You can go straight to the demo, which demo calendar that suits Stuart, so that'll have a lot of times they're available. Lock it in and then we'll send you a link and off we go. And if you want to just put your details in there, I can give you a call and we can probably just talk about what you're lacking in your business, what you're looking for, and we can, I guess, in a way, work out whether the system would help you.
Yeah, so I think that's a great start, is to find out whether this is the right fit rather than just jumping in and taking it for a test drive. Is this the right fit for your business is a good question to ask. So I like that.
And it's funny because we don't talk dollars a lot, but for our 2 users, I guess it's $380 a month for us. So it's I guess we sort of say it's less than $100 a month if you've only got 2 users to get on top of all your finances, get on top of your subcontractors, get on top of just having everything in one place. So the risk management and people coming back to you on the hearsay is there. So that in itself, I think is probably a great way to start the new year, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not that I'm the best mathematician, but I think you meant to say $100 a week.
$100 a week.
Because I couldn't work out how 380 went to 100.
I say $100 a month, did I?
Yeah,
$100 a week. Yeah, exactly. So I mean, think how much box of beer is nearly $100 these days. So
I know. Well, smokes are more than that, aren't they? I don't know.
Well, there you go. One packet of smokes and a box of beers is more than what our system is.
I gave up the smokes before they were $1 a packet. So yeah, I can't believe how much money goes on that stuff. It's incredible. Mate, thank you very much for being on the ToolShed. Sounds like a great platform. I love that you're really open and having that support and really helping people. I hope you never ever lose that. I think that's one of the most important things, that as businesses get bigger, they become less personal. And I think that's what people need in this day and age of, communication through digital means and all of that sort of stuff. Being able to speak to somebody either on Zoom or face to face and have them help you and understand you is a very, very powerful thing, I think, in business. Yeah, no, and it's one thing that we've found through this whole system is we are helping companies. I mean, we're not quite where we want to be. We're growing.
it'd be easy to lose sight of that, but we are actually helping companies. So that's exciting in a way. And we are meeting some great people with great companies that potentially have forgotten about the most important part of construction, which is probably the dollars and tracking.
Probably
So
the dollars.
other than quality and dollars go hand in hand. And I think both of them have been missed at times. So hopefully we can help out some companies.
Yeah, it's easy to get sucked into the monster you're making, just feeding the machine and you kind of forget about it. And it's amazing how often, with the builders that we work with, and it is so obvious that the focus is always on more. And we had a session today with our black belt members where, it's always about more. So we need more work, or we need more people, or, whatever. It's always more. And there are so many leaks in the ship that are slowing it down, And I love what you're saying about the cash flow measurement and the variations. And they're just leaks and not charging the appropriate amount. They're leaks. So we've got to stop. Instead of going, we need a bigger sail to make the boat go faster, we actually will go faster if we get all of the water out of the bilge and stop it from coming in, We've got to plug the leaks. So I love all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and that's so true, because there is the perfect number there, but people need to track their dollars to see where it's at as far as where their business needs to go. Because I've worked in companies that go, they don't really know how they're going. All they're doing is winning more work, win more work. And no, thank you so much for having me. Some great questions there that, I really enjoyed answering. So we look forward to seeing some people.
Yes. Thanks for being on the podcast, and I'm sure we'll be talking again, like as the business evolves and there are new initiatives in the platform. We'll get back together and check it out. So thanks for being on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. See you later.
That's it, folks, for another episode of the ToolShed. I think this is something that you should be thinking about where are the leaks in my ship, and is this platform something that can help plug those leaks? And I love the way that they're talking about, is this the right fit, before you just, instead of selling, jump on regardless. Is this the right fit? Are we the right fit for each other? And is this going to address the specific problems that you have? So I think it's really worthwhile to reach out. We'll make sure that the website link is in the description, so you just need to click it and take that 14-day trial and book a demo, so to see whether it will work for your building business. Before we go, last reminder, please click the button, or not the button, the link in the description to take the scorecard, the builder scorecard. Just see how you fare, what's your score. But you'll also get a really valuable PDF of the specific solutions that you will need to fix the issues that's been identified through that scorecard. Only takes 90 seconds. Invest that 90 seconds and you get some really cool stuff in your inbox. So that's it for this episode of the ToolShed. As I said, I'm Mick Hawes from Builders Business Black Belt. We'll be back with another episode before you know it. Did I say that I'm Mick Hawes from Builders Business Black Belt? I think I did, so I'm repeating myself. That's all. I'm out. Bye for now.
You've been listening to the ToolShed. If this podcast struck a chord with you, make sure you spread the word by sharing it with your mates in the building industry. We love your help to make the building industry better for everyone involved.